Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. And I'd like to welcome you to Hump Day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
That's right, folks. Today is Hump Day. This is the day in which we attempt to begin the weekend, sometimes with success, sometimes not. But as we always say, the fun is all in the trying. And well, folks, today it's going to be us. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about policy. We're going to talk about fun stuff and hopefully have a few laughs and get a little bit informed. So if you're watching right now, you're watching us live. That's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Go ahead and hit us up in the chat. If you're watching us once again, on Facebook or on YouTube or on Rumble or on OpsLens, go ahead and hit us up live. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think or what's on your mind. If we think it's interesting, hey, we'll go ahead and we'll read it on the air. Also, if you're watching us live but you want to watch us or listen to us a different way, trust me, we are wherever you get your podcast if you want to listen to the audio version of this, but also you can watch us on Spotify. Now, Spotify's kind of cool because I like it because you can both watch and listen. The way Spotify has it hooked up. Anyway, check out Spotify if you're not a subscriber. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, however you partake, do me a favor. Go ahead and make sure that you subscribe to the program so that you get alerts as soon as our program is available. You can check it out and you can you can hang out with us just a little bit. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's program. But as you know, before we do, we always have to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We're going to start off here with Hitman Industries. You'll find them at hitmanindustries.net. Rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you. If you're looking to rebarrel your current rifle, or maybe you're just looking to do a brand new build, trust me, this is the place that you want to go. If you purchased an AR recently, chances are you already got one of their barrels, and clearly you're probably happy with it. So check it out. Check them out today. And if you are a first responder and you've never purchased from them before, this is your first purchase, you're going to get a discount. So check them out. hitmanindustries.net. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government in the state of California, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Why don't you check them out at cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. Then you've got Hog Holsters, the place to go. If you are looking for a new holster, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, you're looking for something tactical, or you're just looking for a nice concealed carry holster, trust me, they have what you need. Just go to hogholsters.com, use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, just like it is right there, and get you a discount, nice little discount on your hog holster today. And then finally, the ultimate place to go if you are looking for outdoor gear, if you're looking for cold weather gear, warm weather gear, if you're looking for anything tactical, they have all things tactical except the gun. Veteran owned and operated, great selection, fantastic prices, the place you got to go. Check them out today. That's uscombatgear.com. And that will now bring us to our first story of the day. We already know that, as far as Joe Biden is concerned, we have no borders here in the United States. Border is not a thing that we actually have because we just allow anybody from any country from all over the world to just walk across our southern border. In fact, Joe Biden is so interested in the idea of just allowing people to just walk into our country that he even flies them in. That's right. Something like 36 or 36,000 flights, or no, sorry, 326,000 people, over 300,000 people have been flown into the United States from other countries. Once again, not people who have gone through our immigration process. They're claiming amnesty, and so they're just being flown into the United States and being flown all over the country. Well, among those who are going to be flown into the country, Joe Biden wants to fly in those who are refugees or Palestinian refugees from the Gaza Strip. This is a piece over there at the New York Post. It says here, Republicans on Capitol Hill were in an uproar Wednesday after reports emerged that the Biden administration is considering admitting some refugees from the Gaza Strip into the U.S. as the Israel-Hamas war nears the end of its 7th month. Senior White House officials have been exploring possible avenues to accept a small number of Gazans, including some who fled the Palestinian enclave into Egypt to escape the fighting, as well as others with family in the U.S. CBS News reported Tuesday evening, quote, "I have zero confidence in Biden's ability to vet refugees. How will he make sure they aren't Hamas? He should focus his attention on how to get the hostages home, not putting Americans at risk." That's Senator Rick Scott from Florida. What gets me about this is, and I think Senator Scott is 100% correct. Right now, the vetting of those who are coming in our southern border, we've literally determined, like, for example, in Chicago, they have arrested over 1,000 Venezuelan immigrants who crossed into our southern border, who have committed crimes. 1,000 just from Venezuela in Chicago, and only in Chicago. That doesn't include New York, anything that's going on in places like California, any places that's going on in places like Texas. And so now he's done such a great job at vetting people at our southern border. He's done such a great job at vetting people at our southern border that now we're supposed to trust him to vet people. Now we're supposed to trust him to vet people, that he's bringing in from Gaza. Now, mind you, let's be clear. Polls have already been done in Gaza that demonstrate that something like 80% of those in the Gaza Strip support what Hamas did on October 7th, meaning they support the terrorists. So I'm wondering myself, all right, and then, by the way, we have no way of knowing if those who come into the country from Gaza, so they support Hamas, they support the atrocities that Hamas committed. How do you know you're not letting in the actual terrorists? You don't know. You have absolutely no way of knowing. And if there's any administration that I do not trust to know, to actually do their homework and figure out, are these people good people or bad people? If there's any people that I do not trust, it's the Biden administration in order to be able to do this. And that's why Republicans are losing their mind about it. This is why they're so frustrated and they're so angry, because you literally, we already, through our open southern border, we've already made it about as easy as it could ever be. Excuse me, I'm sorry. He's already made it as easy as you could ever make it to inflict harm on the United States, to engage in a terrorist attack, because there are millions of people in this country and we have no idea who they are. So now we're going to go to places that support terrorists, and we're going to allow them to come into the United States. We'll fly them in because that makes a lot of sense. No, it doesn't make sense. It flat out doesn't make sense. Mr. President, your job is to protect the people of the United States first and foremost. And let me just tell you right now, Mr. President, you suck at it. There is a reason why your approval rating on the southern border is below 30%. I think it's somewhere around 27, 28%. There's a reason why no one has any faith in terms of what you're doing over in the Gaza Strip or what you're doing in the Israel-Hamas war, because you just suck at it. Stop. Do not. I repeat, do not allow people. Do not allow people from an area of the world that has demonstrated that they have contempt for the United States, for the American people, to just randomly come into the United States. And I'm not anti-immigration, but I'm like, if you're going to immigrate, you know who's coming into our country, right? I don't just allow anybody just come walking up in my house, right? Why? Not because I want to be mean, not because I want to be nasty, but because I am responsible for the people in this house. I am responsible for the safety of the people in this house. And if I do not know who I am allowing to come into my home, then I am putting them at risk and I am shirking my responsibility. And Mr. President, that is you. That is exactly what you're seeking to do. You don't care about the safety of the people here because we've already seen hundreds, if not thousands of incidents of criminal aliens in the United States committing crimes, rape, murder, child abuse, assault, burglary, armed. I mean, you name it, the crimes are being committed here in the United States by people, Mr. President, that you let in, that you said you vetted. But we know you really didn't. And you know, well, you may have forgotten because, you know, you are senile. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with here now, folks. So, no, I'm sorry. No. And when I put in the title, when I put in there, you know, the plans to bring in Hamas terrorists to the United States, there's no way you are going to tell me that of the refugees they allowed to come into this country, that there will be no Hamas terrorists among them. If you can say that with utter confidence, then you are either as senile as Joe Biden or you as dumb as Kamala Harris. Just saying. Anyway, that brings us to our next story. So some Republicans, or at least one Republican, is offering legislation that would actually end financial aid or federal financial aid for Hamas rioters. And that's right, I'm calling them now Hamas rioters. If you are engaged in anti-Semitic, and it is definitely clearly anti-Semitic, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, is a call for intifada. It is a call to end or destroy the Jewish state. That's anti-Semitic. This is how do I put this? If you are calling for the death of Jews or Zionists, I'm sorry, you are a terrorist. You are a Hamas terrorist, and you are or if you're not a Hamas terrorist, you are definitely a Hamas terrorist supporter. And by the way, if you are not a citizen of the United States, in my opinion, you ought to be deported. Because you are now an enemy of the United States and do not deserve the right. You don't deserve to be here. If you're going to be an enemy of the United States and you're not a citizen, you have no protections under our Constitution to remain here. Period. Bye bye. And if you are a citizen of the United States, you definitely, as an avowed enemy of the United States, shouldn't be receiving taxpayer dollars. Shouldn't be receiving taxpayer dollars in order to attend one of these higher institutions. Here's a story out of Fox News. It says GOP rep looks to remove FAFSA aid for students convicted of rioting, assaulting police in Israel protest. Representative August Fludger, Republican of Texas, will soon introduce legislation that would withhold federal financial aid from student protesters convicted of rioting or attacking police in the latest wave of anti-Israel unrest. Fox News Digital has learned. Police have already arrested hundreds of student protesters for various crimes at anti-Israel encampments across the country. New York City police alone arrested roughly 300 students during late-night clearing operations at Columbia University and City College of New York. Quote, as a nation founded on principles of justice and respect for the rule of law, we must take a firm stance against violence and lawlessness, especially when directed at those who risk their lives to uphold the law and protect our communities. My new legislation aims to send a clear message. If you assault a police officer or engage in rioting, you forfeit your right to federal financial aid. Pludger, told Fox News Digital in a statement. And I think that's fair. Once again, we're talking about people who are convicted of crimes, right? They're convicted of engaging in violent crimes. And just so you know, those who have been cleared out were given every opportunity to leave. Those at Columbia University were given deadlines, and they extended the deadlines. People stayed there past the deadlines. When the police came in, they gave them warnings. They told them you need to leave. And when they decided not to leave, and then they decided to assault officers, as far as I'm concerned, done. You get what you get. You know what? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And in some cases, what you're going to win is, and by the way, a lot of these students are first of all, they're not going to be eligible for financial aid because they're being suspended, in some cases expelled. Now, being expelled might mean that they'll be back in a semester or so. But I think as long as you are willing to engage in that sort of activity, you know what? It's called civil disobedience. And if it didn't cost you anything, then what are you doing? Then what's the point? What is the point if it's not going to cost you anything? And I'm sorry. As far as I'm concerned, especially since this, by the way, folks, this is the crowd who's asking us to waive their college debt, right? So that they can get their doctorate degree in transgender underwater basket weaving, and at the same time, talking about the evils of America. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm done with that. I don't want to be paying for your college education as it is. I definitely don't want to be paying for the dribble that you appear to be getting. If you want to know why these people are doing this, why these kids are doing this, they're doing this because this is the stuff they're learning in their classrooms. There was a time when I would have definitely been an advocate. I was definitely an advocate of higher education. But as I've said, what's happening in many of these institutions, in many of these majors, you have some of America's brightest minds are being educated into imbecility. They're being made dumber by listening to their college professors. And the worst part is in many cases their college professors are either useful idiots, as Karl Marx would put them, or they are part of the cabal and they are using these students. They are literally lying to them and using them in order to push their Marxist revolution. And these kids are going to pay the price. And you know what? I don't know what to tell you. If you're going to be that dumb, you get what you get. Don't throw a fit. Marijuana is going to be reclassified by the DEA, but not necessarily by the ATF. That's right. There is a move right now to reclassify marijuana from a class 1 drug to a class 3 drug, right? Now, doesn't matter because that's not going to have much of an effect on gun owners. And for those of you who do not know, if you are addicted to drugs or if you are using illegal narcotics, illegal drugs, you forfeit your right to be able to own or possess firearms. Just ask Hunter Biden, who's kind of dealing with that right now. Anyway, this according to Cam Edwards over at Bearing Arms. It says here the Drug Enforcement Agency's move to reclassify cannabis from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 is long overdue, in his opinion. But the change isn't likely to have a major impact on lawful gun owners who are prohibited by federal law from using any unlawful drugs while they possess a firearm. Under Schedule 3, cannabis would still be considered a controlled substance, and state laws allowing recreational use would continue to be a conflict with federal statute. Currently, 24 states have legalized recreational sale of cannabis, while 38 states allow it to be used with a doctor's prescription. gun owners might be able to keep a hold of their guns and partake of the devil's lettuce if they have a doctor's prescription, but recreational use could still result in federal charges. And that's a big thing to know, folks. One of the reasons why I wanted to make sure you had that is because, for those of you out there who like to partake of the wacky tobacco, as they call it, the devil's lettuce, just know that there are still implications. There's still implications out there for you. You still could get in trouble for utilizing it. So you guys better watch your back. Don't go jumping thinking, oh, hey, it's all good. I can go do what I want. There is no group of people that are more regulated, quite frankly, than gun owners. There is no constitutional right that is more regulated than gun owners. And you have a responsibility to know the law and know your rights. Trust me, I live in California where following the gun laws it is a challenge. I will tell you, for someone who's in the business, it can be a challenge. I can only imagine what it's like for someone who doesn't follow legislation and politics on the regular, on a daily basis. It's not an easy thing to do. So what does that mean? That means in the state of California, if you're using weed, I don't care if it's legal, you still are forfeiting or putting your gun rights at risk. Not saying, just saying. All right, next story. There was an NPR poll that was done, and I guess they asked people based on their political affiliation, what are your fears, right? And of course, NPR would ask you, what are your fears, right? Well, interestingly, according to the NPR poll, Democrats fear fascism, and Republicans worry about lack of values. Now, I like the way they changed that from fear to worry about. But let's read this piece here real quick. The fear factor is real in America, but Democrats and Republicans are scared for the country's future for different reasons. The latest NPR PBS NewsHour Marist poll finds. They also believe very differently about what children will inherit, about who will inherit that future should be taught. Looking at this year's presidential election, the survey also found big shifts with key voter groups along generational, racial, and educational lines. It also explored, no, I will not donate. It also explored how third-party candidates and so-called double haters who have unfavorable ratings of both President Biden and former President Trump could affect the race. Let's see here. Fascism and extremism versus lack of values and becoming weak. It says here, Democrats overwhelmingly said teaching children to treat each other as you would want to be treated, the golden rule, is the most important value to teach children. That was followed farther back by education being the key to success and be happy and follow your dreams. Let's see here. It says concerns about American adults have about their country's future. So you look here and you see 47% of Democrats say that they're concerned about the rise of fascism and extremism, which is kind of interesting. Because you only have 15% of Republicans. Now, mind you, it's a Democrat president who is ignoring the Supreme Court, who is violating the Supreme Court when it comes to things like student loan guarantees, who is writing a bunch of executive orders and bypassing the legislative process or the separation of powers. It's a Democrat president who made everybody wear masks or lose their jobs as soldiers, as doctors, as nurses. So if there's anybody who's like, or who is forcing or being who is basically being a fascist, I'm sorry, but that would be our current president. Anyway, lack of values. Of course, Democrats are not concerned about values at all. They don't care about values. They care, go do what you like, do what you feel, right? They don't care about values, about our country, about our kids growing up having any values. Because, see, when you have values, then you know and you understand what is of value or what should be of value, what should be of value to you. But when you have no values, when you have no standards, it's like saying, if you don't believe in anything, you'll fall for anything. And that's what's going to wind up happening. We wonder why. You want to know why you have crime is rampant in the streets in Democrat districts or Democrat-led states? It's because they don't believe in any values and they don't govern according to any values. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal. They don't care. It's okay, because if you do lie, cheat, and steal, well, it must be because you're oppressed, because you're a victim of some kind. For some reason, somebody oppressed you. That's why you do these bad things. Not because you weren't raised right. Not because you weren't raised with values to value honesty, to value hard work, to recognize that we live in a country that says that if you work hard and you apply yourself and you're innovative, you have an opportunity to live the American dream. In a nation where people go from poverty to wealth within a generation, I can tell you, if you don't believe it's true, just there's a reason why people are climbing over themselves, why they're coming to this country in millions and in millions every year. It's because they recognize it, they see it. Anyway. All right, well, folks, hey, that brings us now to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. Our parting shot today is going to be brought to you courtesy of the Babylon Bee, because we got another good list. I know how you guys are. You guys love lists. These are 9 highly effective ways to remove protesters from your campus. Folks, they're rioting all over the country. It's at universities all over the country. Here in Sacramento, down in LA, they had big time riots last night. New York, Chicago, all across the country this is happening. So this is some advice that if you are a university administrator, you might want to partake of. Number 1, halt all deliveries of pizza rolls and fruit snacks. They'll be running home to raid their parents' fridges before you can say colonizers. Number 2, tell them you saw a Jew across the street and he's getting away. They won't be able to resist the urge to hunt down one of their nemesis. Send in Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, that one's my favorite. He'll clear the quad in less than 12 seconds. That's a good one. That is definitely a good one. Okay, throw granola bars containing gluten at them. All commies are allergic to gluten for some reason. Number 5. Tell them to locate Gaza on a map before they can protest. You'll likely be left with 1 or 2 protesters. Tops. Number 6. Put up a sign that says free drugs and gay stuff this way with an arrow pointing off campus. We're pretty sure they're suckers for drugs and gay stuff. Okay, that's funny. All right. Hold a Biden campaign rally. Instant ghost town. Well, that's true. Right there on campus. Go ahead and hold it. Run around screaming, I'm unvaccinated, and coughing everywhere. They may not be afraid to die for their cause, but they are afraid of COVID. And then finally, pepper spray to the eyeball. Yeah, that's a classic right there. That's a classic right there. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today. But before we go, we're going to give another quick shout out to our sponsors. Go to Hitman Industries if you are looking for rifle and pistol length barrels. Just find them at hitmanindustries.net. You got the California Republican Assembly. If you want to be a part of California's future today, join CRA. Then just go to Hog Holsters. If you want a hog holster, go to hogholster.com. Use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster on discount today. And then finally, we've got uscombatgear.com, the home of all things tactical except the gun. All right, folks, so that's going to be it for today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Throat Punch Thursday. I hope you all have a good time. Until then.